Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me how I lost all the weight, and so I decided just to make a video to answer everybody's questions and pretty much give them the rundown. So it started about last May. Well, it was actually before that. So I've been, a little heavy set for a lot of my life, and I kind of accepted it. There had been times where my friends would try to lose weight and they would be successful, but it just never was something for me. And what I think is remarkable is that I never thought I would be the person who actually lost weight. I just kind of was like, I'm going to be fat, that's just who I am. And then there came a point when I got my first job at McDonald's, and that came along with the offering of free food to work an extra shift. So I was, as a consequence, eating a bunch of unhealthy food during the day. Most of my diet was McDonald's, and even before that it wasn't obviously healthy. So as a consequence of that, I gained about 20 pounds extra, 16, something like that. And so basically at that point I realized that I was gaining weight, and I didn't really want to accept it, but my friends actually at a point were like, Ashley, you've gained weight, and we're not trying to be rude, but you should probably lose it. And I had noticed that I was starting to get to a point where I wasn't comfortable with myself, because at some point you can accept that you're overweight and you can live with it, and you can even embrace it, but I was at the size where it was harder for me to embrace how I looked. And when I decided to lose weight, it wasn't just about how I looked, it was also how my health was, because I was going to the doctor and they have a growth chart and they're like, wow, you went off the curve. They essentially noticed I gained 16 pounds, and they're like, wow, you gained 16 pounds, and it was just those little things. Actually, it was a big thing, and they said I was, going to develop high blood pressure if I kept going down this path. And I thought about things like the freshman 15, because this was junior year, and I'm like, imagine putting on the freshman 15 in addition to this, and then going into middle age, having kids, and when women have kids, it's hard to put the weight off. So I was thinking, the long term, I would be at a very large size if I kept at this rate. So I decided I had to make a change about it. And so I was uncomfortable, and then I met a girl. Well, I knew this girl. She lost a significant amount of weight, 80 pounds, and this was a girl that reminded me of myself, who was she said she wouldn't lose weight, or she kind of just accepted that her size. And I thought that if she could do it, what's holding me back? I also was told of my dad's friend, Mark, who lost a lot of weight, almost 150 pounds. So I was seeing people around me lose weight and have the motivation, so that was an inspiration to me. Combining that with, just my discomfort with myself was what motivated me to lose weight. So you definitely want to have a motivation, and you want to make sure before you want to lose weight that you do it for the right reasons, because you need to stay motivated. That's how you are successful in losing weight. The number one is that you are motivated to actually follow through with it, because when you lose weight, there are sacrifices. So how I did it was, I'm actually not a person who's really athletic. I was athletic as a child, but not in my teenage years or middle school or anything. So I ended up eventually, I was more of the diet side of it. Losing weight is a combination of physical activity and of dietary regulation. So I did focus more on the dietary aspect of it, but as far as, getting motivated to go out and be active, it was just little things. If I was at my house, instead of being telling my friend to go get something for me, I would go up and do it myself. I, was the person who would volunteer to go get stock at work. So I was trying my best to be on my feet, just little things like that. And they say to get at least a half hour of exercise within the day. So I would do my best to fit that into whatever form I could, whether it be waking up early to go on an early morning walk. Eventually it was an early morning jog occasionally, but it wasn't something I really committed to. What really helped was that I had a Fitbit, which monitored my steps, and it would buzz when I had been inactive for a long time. So that was a help. But you can also download apps and things like that if you don't, want to invest in a Fitbit. And I have not been wearing a Fitbit for a few months now, so it was something I did initially. And I really want to get into that, because the most significant part is changing your lifestyle. That's the biggest step. Probably most people, they either give up after that, or it's hard to make that transition. So the best way to follow through with that initial transition, again, is to be motivated. And you need to know why you want to lose the weight. So what helps with that is having a vision in your head. So you want to prioritize you want to have a good priority of why you want to lose weight. Don't simply lose weight because you want to look a certain way. It's actually for your health, right? And what comes along with being healthy is, maybe the size you are. Heavier people can be healthy, obviously, but, majority of it's, being in shape to some extent. So, what that meant was I was, thinking, like, at times when I wanted to give up, I'd say, well, why am I doing this? So it's definitely important to reflect and have some kind of vision in mind of, like, so the vision for me was, what motivated me was a before and after photo. So I was looking forward to saying, what motivated me to lose weight in the first place was seeing my prom photo from junior year. I didn't like it. That is what really triggered it. So I was thinking, okay, how is my prom picture going to look next year to this year? And that is what motivated me personally, but you can set your own goals, definitely. So have an idea in mind of where you want to be in a few months. Lay out the plan. So I said, I want to, first of all, I looked at my BMI and I said, this is my, for my height and size, this is what I'm supposed to be. So I did a range. So from my height and frame and age and all that, I'm supposed to be 145 pounds in theory. But I'm thinking more 160, 150. So right now I'm 160 pounds, and that's kind of my goal. But, back then when I set my goal, I set 160. So now I'm trying to lose about, 10 more pounds, and then I should be content. So you want to say, okay, how long will it take me to lose that amount of weight? Set a time frame, set a goal for yourself, and then, take the steps necessary to get to where you want to go. So when you have an idea where you want to go, you set a plan for it. So I looked at people online that were healthily losing weight, if that's even a word, people who were actually being successful. So I looked at people who did Weight Watchers, people who were motivated, and I focused more on the diet side of it. So my biggest thing was healthy eating, definitely. This means 3 meals a day, and these are the general rules I stuck to. So 3 meals a day, your portions get bigger throughout the day. So you have a good portion-sized breakfast, and then your lunch is about medium in comparison to that, and then dinner is the largest meal of the day. And then I would not eat after 7 o'clock, because what really gets you is, the reason you're eating is, I eat for fuel. I used to eat for fun, so I would be bored and I'd go out to eat with my friends and I would stuff myself. So you want to eat for fuel, which is the most important thing of this. You can't starve yourself either to lose weight, because you end up gaining it back later, or it's not fun. Losing weight can actually be fun because it's something to look forward to. It's a long-term goal that you have, in essence. So I made fun of it. Not made fun. I made the fun out of it. So I would look at recipes online. I never cooked for myself, and I'm not talking about like big, extravagant, cooking big meals from scratch, but I'd go to the store and I would, find the healthiest options. So I was on the path personally to developing high blood pressure. And a great way to counteract that or manage it is to eat low sodium. So I'd go to the store and I would get reduced sodium, no sodium added. So I really did my research on what healthy foods were. And again, everybody's different, their physiology's different, everybody's so unique, so you can't necessarily follow exactly what I do, but I can hopefully be a model for what other people would do. So what I did again was I had meals that increased throughout the day in proportion, and it was still not a large portion. I try to avoid snacks because that ends up becoming a 5th or 4th meal, so I definitely avoid that. But you only want to eat when you're hungry too. I mean, don't starve yourself and wait till you're about to faint. But if you're a little hungry, don't necessarily go eat right away. If dinner is at 6 o'clock and it's like 4:30 and you're hungry, have like a small snack or drink something like water, and that'll be able to allow you to get to your next meal. So definitely stick to the 3-meal time frame. As far as food, I had rules as to what I avoided. So this is initially when I was making the transition. It didn't all happen at once. It's a transition. So I went from eating completely unhealthy, about 5 large meals a day, to 3 average-sized meals a day. So I, eventually, I cut back on, first I gave up bread. And I don't mean this in extreme forms. Instead of having salsa and chips, I would just have salsa. You can eat salsa by itself. It's actually pretty good. I would, not have donuts, so it's a transition, right? It comes in segments. So eventually I was on a full healthy diet, and that's what's important, is that you're working towards that. Eventually it'd slip up initially, but as long as you're staying committed to transitioning eventually to healthy eating, that is what matters. So I ate eventually, healthy foods. I cut out beef and pork because they're heavier meats. And if you have grilled chicken, fish, turkey, those have high proteins and they have good nutrients for you. They have low fat. And what I really did was avoid unnatural sugars. So I would have strawberries and natural sugars, right? I love strawberries. Actually, that was like my after-school snack, strawberries. So, you know, actually have the good, healthy, wholesome foods. And I ate a lot of fruit and vegetables, definitely. Greens are very important. So, for instance, this is just, you know, general day's food that I could haul. So, I'd have a smoothie for breakfast. So I would have a bunch of bananas, strawberries, yogurt, almond milk, put in a blender. I would have that for breakfast. And then I'd have a granola bar, like a very all-natural granola bar, which is your grains for the day. And then that was my breakfast. And then for lunch, I would have usually like a salad with grilled chicken, you know, peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, all that. And for dressing, I would, you know, you can get low-fat balsamic, sugar-free, whatever, but I would usually have like a lemon honey mix, and that's a good, like, healthy, natural vinegar concoction. And then for dinner, I would have zoodles, which is you grind up zucchini, and it's like a substitute for noodles. So that was a way to, like, you know, still kind of eat to what your preferences are. It's finding healthy alternatives. So instead of having noodle or spaghetti, I would have zoodles with turkey meatballs and, you know, low-fat, salt-free spaghetti sauce. And, you know, just finding healthy alternatives to things, really. Substitutes is what it is. That's the key to that. So, you know, I avoided grains, but I had nuts. That's important. So, you know, almonds were my best friend, granola, natural things. I'd cut out dairy from my diet. I would occasionally have some feta cheese on my salads, but other than that, not so much. And then I had non-fat yogurt from Hy-Vee, so it was very thinner yogurt. I mean, it's still yogurt, but if you left it out, when it got warm, it would kind of like melt. So it had very low fat in it. And then, you know, just natural, a lot of vegetables. That's pretty much really what it was. And I stuck to that. I didn't cheat at all. And if you really stick with that and you're active, it just kind of, it came naturally, really. And before I went on this diet, I kind of made the excuse that I have a thyroid condition. I can't lose weight, when in reality, I was obviously able to lose 80 pounds. I do have a mild thyroid condition, but that didn't hold me back. So I'm not, you know, don't make excuses, and if you really want to, try researching. Like, just because I have a medical condition, you still can be capable of losing weight, because that was definitely true for me. So it's just those little things like that. You know, being motivated. I went to the gym every once in a while, but again, I was more of a person who was just always on my feet, trying to be as active as I can, here and there. And, you know, if you're sitting doing homework, instead of, you know, when you're finished watching a TV show, get up and go for a walk. You know, it's just the choices like that. So it was a combination of healthy eating, eating the right amount of food, not too much and definitely not too little, and it was being motivated and knowing what your goal was in the long run. Because for me, I overate a lot, and if I can go from overeating significantly to eating average, then I definitely think that anybody can. So I hope this helped you guys out a lot. If you have any other questions, just let me know, and you can message me. Thank you guys so much.